feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
All right, boy, Trigger Man, back in the lab. And today, what we have here? Today, man, we have an overall from the car salesman auction guy, El Cheapo. I gotta start calling dude El Cheapo because he's been a good tipper lately. He's been tipping me real nice, so we try to take care of him. But yeah, man, so this is what we got, a 99 Lexus. I believe it's a 99. We're gonna clear the headlights. Those were sanded down with 400, 600, then 800. Grease and wax removed, and then masked up. So after I put the base down, we're gonna pull it off and put the clear down. And as you see, I had to mark these clear, clear, clear. Because there's been times, man, I was supposed to do this, and I forgot, and I painted and cleared the whole car, and left them. So that's for me to remember, you know what I'm saying? You get old, man. Y'all know. But anyway, man, so yeah, so that's what we're doing here. These little moldings here, paint was peeling off of them. They were actually painted, and then as we were blowing the car, paint was peeling off. So this is actually down to the bare metal. So we're gonna use the Bulldog Adhesion Promoter Plus, which is a gray sealer as well as adhesion promoter. Mainly for that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just do the whole car because we've got some spots where there was some body work here, there, little spots. Nothing on top of the trunk, but some there, rear bumper. So you see it's got a little body work in different places. On the roof, it's got a little section just there. But yeah, so we just get it all one solid color, gray sealer, and then we're going with the base. So that's what we're doing here. This is gonna be a little different for me. They're gonna do this in Nason base coat, which I'm not too familiar with spraying. It should be just like everything else, but the silvers, we usually do our pro spray. You know what I'm saying? We usually do our pro spray. I have sprayed Nason single stage that I'm familiar with, but the Nason base coat, this is a new one for me. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna clear it with our normal Amtech clear that I use for all my jobs on the channel. So that's where we at, man. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna mask up, mix up, and we're gonna get into it. Sealer, base, clear. And for this job here, I'm gonna base it out with the DV1, the Vilbus DV1. There's a 1.3 in there. And then for clear, I'm gonna hit it with the Jet X5500. There's a 1.2i in there. So that's what we're gonna do, man. They're gonna tag team and knock this thing out. Yeah, so I'm gonna go mask up, mix up, and we're gonna get to it. All right, fellas. So we're gonna start out with the base coat on here. If you really want to see the sealer being put down and an extended version of this video, you can check out the other channel, Paints by Trigger. That's where I put down everything, every coat. You can watch it step by step without the voiceover. So the choice is yours. You got options here with Trigger, man. You got options. So yeah, so like I said, starting off with the base coat. As you see, I put my base on pretty heavy. And initially, this video was just gonna be on tips of spraying metallics. But as you see at the beginning of the video, the owner of the shop decided to put Nason base coat down on this job, which that's a first for me. Again, like I said in the beginning, I have sprayed lots of Nason single stage, but the base coat, never have. And I assumed it was gonna be just like every other base that we use. You know, in my shop now, we use Pro Spray, but in the past I've used the PPGs, the DuPont, Chroma Base. You know, I've pretty much sprayed everything. So I assume it's gonna be pretty much the same. And man, let me tell you, it's not horrible. It's not horrible base coat, but it does not go down as easy and as smooth as it does when you're spraying a quality paint. So that's what kind of prompted me to actually change this here video direction and where I wanted to go instead of the tips and everything. You know, some of you guys that are out there doing this stuff from home, you know, I know a lot of you guys like to buy all this cheap stuff. You go online, probably buy cheap base coat offline. I just want to give you a heads up. A lot of times you can be spraying some cheap paint, and right now we're talking specifically about base. You can be spraying some cheap base and your jobs really aren't coming out as good as you think they should, and you're thinking like maybe it's your skills, like, oh man, I don't have what it takes. And a lot of time, man, them cheap paints, it's a lot more work than it would be if you just had a quality paint. You're just putting it down one shot and it's laying down smooth. That's what more expensive paints will do. And not even gonna say more expensive paints, because there are some that are on the lower end as far as the cost, but they perform well. So you just kind of have to know. You have to play with the different products, find one that works for you. In the past, when I used to do a lot of side work, and I'm talking 20 years ago, when I used to do a lot of side work, I used to spray a lot of PPG. The shop I worked for did PPG, and then when I did my side work, I kind of tried to go on the cheaper end, and I purchased it's a lower product. It's a lower line of the PPG line. It was called Omni. I'm sure they probably still got it around. I haven't sprayed it or went into the paint store to purchase this stuff in probably 15, 16 years, but I'm sure it's still around. But then you guys out there know Omni. That's a PPG product. They sell it at the PPG stores that sell PPG. But that paint was like, it was a headache, man. It was a headache, and I always had to buy more of the paint. Stuff that I would normally paint at the shop I worked at during the day. Whatever that paint code was, I paint that same exact code in Omni, which is still PPG, but it's just a lower line of PPG. I would have to buy double, triple the amount of paint, because it didn't cover the pearls, everything in there, the metallics. It just wasn't the same quality. And at the time, you're trying to hustle up, doing some side work or doing your own cars or whatever, and it really ain't dawning in on me. You know what I'm saying? It's like you just kind of trying to spend the least amount. You want the cheapest stuff, and that goes from the paper to the tape to everything. And it's like, really, you working yourself. You working the hell out of yourself. You're putting on coats. You're having problems. The paint's not laying right. It's not covering right. There's more striping. There's more modeling. And to an inexperienced painter, you're like, man, why is this? What's going on? Like, I'm messing up. And you're trying different reducers, and it's nothing's helping. And it can just be that simply it's just a low quality paint, And that's something I faced early in my career doing this. I was working, like I said, full time at a shop. I had a warehouse I did on the side. Me and the body man from the shop that we worked at, we started our own little warehouse together, and it was going smooth. I mean, it was smooth the whole way, but as I got more experienced and I learned that those cheaper paints, it's a headache, man. It's a real headache for you guys. And doing this job here, it just took me back to that, and that's why I just changed the direction of this here. And I really want you guys to, if you can, try to splurge a little bit on a little better. And I get it, there's a balance with everything. The spray guns, most expensive, best spray guns. The paint, most expensive this, most expensive that. You could be out a couple $1,000s just on a paint job. But I'm not saying to go to the max and get the most expensive and the best, but play around, and it doesn't always have to be, this manufacturer of base coat and this manufacturer of clear coat. Everything has to be the exact brand, from the sealer to the base to the clear. In big shops, they like you to do that. That's how they so-called, warranty it, is you have to have it from the ground coat, from the sealer has to be this product, the base coat has to be this product, the reducer has to be this product, and all of that stuff. That's just, don't even worry about that kind of stuff. You doing this on the side, you know what I'm saying? But just play around with different materials, man, and try to get you something in the middle. Nothing too expensive, but get you something in the middle. And that's as far as your base coat and your clear coat, you know. Just like you want to do with your guns. You're not gonna buy the cheapest of the cheap. Well, some of y'all are, man. Some of y'all with this Rust-Oleum. People ask me about the spray Rust-Oleum and stuff, man. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe I just like nice stuff. I don't know. But yeah, just try to splurge a little bit, man. Play around with them. First, try your base coats. Get you a decent base coat. Play around with the different paint brands. You know, even if you do get some online, something that you see online, you're seeing it sprayed. You know, try it out. You know, get you a little pint of it. Spray something. Test it out before you go spending a whole bunch of money to do a whole paint job. You know. Even what a lot of you can do, man, believe it or not, a lot of these paint stores, your local paint suppliers, auto body paint suppliers, you know, they have paint in there. You know, if you just want to stop in or even call around, a lot of them have paint in there that they have mixed up, just sitting on the shelves in the back, that people called in. Say someone called in for a paint code 4M9, and they mix up the 4M9, but the people get there to pick up the paint, and they bring them the paint, and they're like, no, I said 4JQ, and the paint is just sitting there, so they can't sell it. So a lot of that stuff, man, they have sitting on the shelves in there, and they'll pretty much give you for a little bit of nothing. You know, they'll sell it to you for a couple dollars, you know, and you can do that. Try different paints like that. That's definitely an option, you know. You're just trying to get the hang of this stuff. You're just trying it out. You want to find a good product that'll work with you in your area. Try that out, man. Definitely. You know, go into those paint stores or give them a call and tell them, you know, you have any paint on the shelves that you mixed up, you know, it was a mismatch or it was just paint that you couldn't sell for whatever reason. And most of them will have that. A lot of times they'll sell it to body shops that they can use it for a ground coat. You know, like sometimes we have that happen. We have a mix that doesn't work for anything, and I'll put it to the side and I'll use it as a ground coat and put down first. Okay, final coat of base. I actually ended up putting 3 coats of base on this one. And remember, my first coat was like a double coat. I count that as 1. Yeah, I dropped my pressure down to 15 psi, so this is more like a drop coat, but not too much of a drop coat. Extra slow base reducer the entire job. And again, with this material here, because it's a little cheaper, you can't really go with a big drop coat like too far back, because the metallics are landing different. I know you probably really can't see it on the camera, but those metallics were laying a little funky, in my opinion. Not as smooth as I would like them to, but we made it work. We always gonna make it work. And that's the thing I'm saying. When you're spraying with cheaper materials, you have to be a better painter to make that stuff work. An inexperienced painter using cheap paint, that's you're looking for trouble, man. You're really looking for trouble, you know? And that's the God's honest truth, man. I brought out the DV1 base gun. Like, you know, I brought everything out to do this thing. I wanted it to come out real nice, which it did come out nice. But even spraying with one of the top base guns for metallic, it was still giving little issues, you know? Extra slow base reducer. I covered all corners on this, and it was still a little funky. Again, that's because it's a cheaper paint, you know. So just something I want you guys just to keep in your head, man, and think about, you know. Guys that are just trying to be so cheap and get the cheapest of the cheap stuff. Just keep that in your mind. You know, you will be working harder than you really have to get a decent paint job.
Trigger man, this is a real good topic that you brought up, brother. And it's funny you say that, man, because last year I ordered this paint offline. I'm not gonna say no name on what company it is, but it's all over the internet. People spraying it, and man, that stuff was horrible, man. It was blotchy. The paint didn't lay down smooth. It was all rough. Had orange peel in the base, and then the damn had it had. Oh man, it was a nightmare. Then it had orange peel in my clear because the base was so cheap, man. Like, oh man, it was a nightmare. And then when I finished painting the car, I took it out in the sun, I unmasked it, and then there was still spots showing through to the primer. It's like, man, it's garbage, man. So I get what you're saying there, brother. Man, and that was a whole Hummer. I had painted my Hummer, man. Like, god damn, man. People be selling all this cheap paint online. You know, they try to demo the paint and make it like it's cheap stuff, man. I learned my lesson there, Trey. You're about a year too late with this video, but I learned my lesson there, Trey. From now on, man, if they demo in the paint and the paint in the car and it don't look damn good the way I want my car to look, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. You know? Don't tell me how it can be, what it should be, what it could be. Paint the damn car, make it look like that, and make me want to buy the material, man. I tell you, man, Trey, I wish you would have made this damn video a year ago, man. You would have saved me like $1,800, man. You paint my damn Hummer twice, buying this cheap paint. Man, I tell you, Trey. Anyway, brother, I'm just venting, man. You know, this is a sensitive subject for me, brother. I wasted so much damn money buying that cheap stuff.
So yeah, man, just trying to save some of you guys some headache, you know. Trying to save you some headache, and some heartache, and some heartbreak. Cause there ain't nothing like pulling the car out, unmask it, and you see through to primer spots. And that happens more and more with that cheap stuff, you know. It don't cover, not too much pigments in there. So now I'm playing around with this hood. Again, it doesn't look horrible. I just feel like I need a little extra assurance on there. So I'm just going crossway with it. Playing around with the metallics just to where I feel like it's okay. And if you guys know from watching my videos, you don't see me do this too often. You know, every now and again I might play around with it, but normally it's not needed. If I was doing my normal paint, my normal pro spray base coat that I use, you know, I wouldn't have had to do that. But again, to an unexperienced painter, you really wouldn't know, man. You know, you just think it's you know, and it's not. So now getting ready to do these headlights. Again, these were already sanded. 400, 600, and 800. I believe that's what it was. It's been a couple weeks since I'm doing this voiceover, but I do believe that's what it was. And I'm still gonna go ahead and give them another wipe with some grease and wax remover, since they had the tape on there, just in case any kind of little residue or anything. But yeah, so this is one for the auction guy. Another one for the auction guy. He's been a decent tipper lately, man. I used to not like the guy. I used to give him a funky look when he come in the shop. But lately we've been okay, man. We've been okay. He been taking care of the old Trigger, so, you know. Trigger got to take care of him. Like I say, gonna hit it again with a little bit of grease and wax remover. Then I'm gonna hit him with a little Bulldog. Make sure we got some good adhesion on there for him. Even though he's gonna sell the car, you know, or whatever he does with it. I assume that's what you car auction guys do, you know. Got to put the hands on there.
Gotta get the oil from my hands and causes fisheye. Wham, 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 wham. Always put your adhesion promoter, man. Put your bulldog. Put your bulldog on them headlights when you do them. Don't go the cheap route. Don't go with the Transtar, none of the other stuff. Use the bulldog. Don't use the Chihuahua, use the bulldog. Okay, and then a little something I do here. Drop my pressure down. Probably like 7, 8 PSI. Hit the masking paper. Whatever little dirt got on there. Little dry metallics. Another thing, when you're spraying those cheap base coats, you get so much metallics and dry spray that are just laying down on your paper and stuff. Believe me, you do. You know, that stuff is like just little metallic flakes that are just all over the place, and they'll land as soon as you come across with your clear, blow across that paper, they fly up in the air and drop right down in your paint job. They are there, trust me, with cheaper material. Believe you me. Now playing with the old SATA jet, getting this here atom gauge set right. I believe I gave that a 1/4 turn in from a wide fan. I believe it was at 32 PSI. It was gonna flash up on the screen. Yeah, 32 PSI. 2.5 turns out on the fluid from closed. And we about to get down like James Brown. I give you guys half of the clear coat for the first coat. This is only half of that, just showing you the front end around the headlights. Again, if you want to see the whole video, every coat, the entire way, that's over on the other channel, Paints by Trigger. And I give you guys extended versions of videos over there. And if you're wondering, those are not the spray nozzles that are in the hood. That's a 8mm bolt that we screwed into the hose, just so the hose don't drop down in there, because it was a pain trying to get that out of there. So that's all that is. It's an 8mm bolt sitting down on top there. So like I said earlier, man, call around to your different paint shops, the different local shops, see what they got. You know, I call my paint rep, you know, on my other channel that I started, the Paints by Trigger, when I do those fenders and so forth. Man, I call my paint rep and I'm like, hey man, you know, I'm doing these other little fenders. I just need a bunch of different colors. Can you hook me up? And he's like, Trigger, man, I got so many different paints in here that people ordered. They didn't come pick it up, or they said they wanted this paint code and it was the wrong code they gave me. And it's like, and that's everywhere, man. And it's been like that since I started spraying, you know what I'm saying? All those shops have different little paints in there. You want to try something out, give it a try. Watch your feet, watch your step right there, man. When you guys have that first coat of clear on and you're going to put your second coat, and whatever you're standing on, watch those toes, man. Watch those toes, because all it takes is just your tip of your foot to hit the side of that door, ruin a paint job. Easy. Well, you'll ruin the side of a paint job. You will have to repaint something there, depending on how hard you kick that damn door. You might have to do some body work. But yeah, so explore your different options, man. Explore your options. Start out with base coat. Explore your different base coats. If you got a clear you already like, you're set with, cool, keep that. You know, once you get a good base coat, the price is right for you. It flows out the way you like it. It does what you want it to do. Lays down the way you want it to lay down. Then okay, we got the base. Now let's move over to the clear. Find you a different clear. Even if you like PPG, you know, there's probably 5, 6, probably 10 different products, clear coat of PPG that you can use. Try the cheapest one. See how you like that. Then move up to the next expensive, you know? Just go that way. And then pretty soon, you'll have it down. You'll know what you like. You know what works for you. You know what works in your atmosphere, in your temperature, in your spraying conditions. With your spray gun, with your air compressor. You know, all of these things matter when you're spraying. And you want to have everything in sync with one another. All it takes is just one thing out of whack. You know, you can have the perfect spraying conditions, perfect air compressor, perfect base coat, crappy spray gun. Everything's out of whack. And you can have the perfect spraying conditions, great spray gun, cheap base coat, and you throw everything out of whack. So it's a formula, man. It's a formula you gotta have, and you gotta create for yourself, and you gotta know when to and when not to. Go cheap and go high. But only you can determine that. You know, no video, no YouTuber, no TikToker, no Instagrammer. Nobody else can paint the perfect picture, pun intended, for you. You have to play with those different scenarios, you know? No one can tell you this is the best spray gun for you. This is the best spray gun settings for you. This is the right base coat reduction for you. Only you can determine that. You know? So when you guys message and, oh, how many pounds of pressure? How many turns out? Those are going to be settings ideal for my material, my spraying conditions, my technique, my speed, my overlap. You know? You have to create these things for yourself. And the only way you do that is time behind the trigger, you know? Time. Minutes, hours, days, years, decades behind the trigger. I know a lot of it sounds a little repetitive, but it's really just as simple as that, man. You know? Can't make this no kind of special code that needs to be decoded, and it's really that simple, man. You find the products, you find the material that work for you, and you keep using it. I tell you what, you guys that are out there chasing different products, you watch this, you watch that, then you're all confused. You try this, you try that, without really giving yourself time to learn the product. And guys like that, those are the ones in stuff will drive you crazy. Okay, ran out of clear. I'm going to get my final canister of clear here, already set up, ready to go. Twist in, locked and loaded. Also, man, any of you guys out there spraying, let me know if they still have Omni, if Omni's still around, and if it's any good now, you know. Because back then, that's what I used primarily when I had my little shop on the side. And boy, when I tell you that stuff did not cover. Man, look at here. I had to repaint so many jobs from that Omni. I remember it was this one Acura Legend. I forget the paint code. It was a green Acura. I purchased the whole, I forget what the mixing ratio was with Omni. It might have been 1-to-1, 2-to-1, I forget. But I know we purchased an entire gallon. And I was putting coats. It must have had 7-8 coats of paint on that car. Still wasn't covering. Ran through a whole gallon. Had to go back to the paint store before they closed. This was Mark's Auto Paint down in Fort Lauderdale. Went back to Mark's, got some more base before they closed. Luckily, finally got it covered. And it's like when you're doing that stuff back then, this was early in my career. It was like I didn't even know, man. I didn't know no better, you know. It's like I could have easily just went, got some good paint, 2 coats. You know, like right now with the base that I use at this shop, 2 coats of paint, and most colors are covered. 2 coats, you know. Even with that same color green, those same, same ballpark of the green that I'm talking about specifically, that was with the Omni, that would be covered with this paint that I use now. But back then, man, it's like, and again, it was early in my career, my first couple years of painting. So just like it could be some of you guys' first couple years of painting, and these are just things that I want you guys to think about, It may sound a little repetitive, it might even sound like common sense, but it happens, man. It happens, Again, that's why I tell all you guys to watch the different channels, watch everybody's different methods, hear about the different products that are out there, That's the biggest blessing, man, this YouTube thing. Back then it was just like trial and error. Nobody to tell me that, even though I was painting, but I just didn't know, cheaper paint that's what it was. Don't cover, Does not cover. Even in some single stages, here at this shop here, we use the Nason single stage. There's one company we're buying it from, Finish Master, and then there's another company that we started buying it from. It was a lot cheaper, so the owner buys it from the cheaper company. But I went to noticing certain colors that I've been painting for a long time, for years. I know, okay, 2 coats, 3 coats is covered, and that's from Finish Master. Then once the owner started purchasing the same color from this cheaper company, I'm noticing I'm like 5 coats, 6 coats, same exact can, same exact full thing, Nason, but apparently the cheaper company, they're putting more fillers in there, more binder, less pigment, whatever the case may be. So sometimes that cheaper, man, is just not always the way to go. And you think it's the same product, same can, it should be the same thing, but it's not. So whenever you go that cheap route, just know, man, one way or another, you paying for it. Whether it's your time, the aggravation, some way you're paying for it. So this is the finished product. Headlights done.
All right, we got it done. This is what we're looking like. Yeah, just some silver, man. I don't know. To me, silver is just the least rewarding paint job. The color, you know what I'm saying? It's like more like white, No matter how good you get it, no matter how wet you get it, no matter what, it's just silver. I don't know. Yeah, you can get your lines right, get no stripes, no model, but I don't know. Just boring to me. I don't know. It might just be me. You guys let me know if you're feeling it different. That's it. I don't see nothing funny, no trickery, no runs, no nothing. So a few little specks of dust, but hey, that's to be expected in the dungeon. But other than that, we're good. Headlights came out good. And that's gonna do it, man. That's your boy Trigger signing off. Catch you guys today's Friday, so it's gonna sit over the weekend. So Monday morning we'll come get it out in the sun and see what we're looking like. All right. Top of the morning to you. Good morning, everybody. This is what we're looking like. Pretty good, looking pretty good. Nothing funky going on. Yep, so looking pretty good, looking pretty good. That's another one done. Overall Lexus silver, forget the paint code. I'll try to say it in the voiceover. But yeah, so that's a wrap, man. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
All right, so that's going to do it on this one, fellas. Hopefully that helps some guys out there. You know, I know everybody pretty much know it all, but there are a few guys out there that I know this can help. So if you can, man, just try to splurge a little bit on some paint and give it a try, you know. And you Rust-Oleum guys asking me to spray Rust-Oleum paints and all that stuff, man, look, just go to them paint stores, ask the paint people if they got some paint back there. Sometimes you can even take a quart of this, quart of that. They might have 3 quarts of something you can mix together and make you a decent paint with actually good paint that'll last you for years versus all this little cheap, stupid stuff you guys be wanting to try, man. But hey, it's your boy Trigger signing off. I ask that you would please like, share, subscribe. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe to the channel. It won't cost you a thing. I ask that you would share this video with a friend. And after doing so, if you would please tell his girlfriend. Peace.